Hello and welcome to Breakthroughs in Natural Healing. I'm Brian James. My special guest today is Kim Bright, founder of Sweet Wheat Inc., based in Florida. Kim's a renowned nutritional consultant and educator and the brilliant creator of Sweet Wheat, organically grown juiced young wheatgrass full of vitally needed minerals, trace minerals, live enzymes, and vital nutrients, which perform a host of beneficial roles like detoxing, boosting energy, multivitamin, and so on. Hi, Kim, and welcome.
Well, hi, Brian. Thank you for having me.
That's my pleasure. In reading some of the material, this is a fascinating development in health. We think it's pretty new, but in fact, it goes back to the 1920s, and it has a pretty odd start. In fact, it wasn't even used on humans at that time.
No, actually, Brian, the history of wheatgrass goes back into the 1920s and early 1930s when Dr. Charles Schnabel, he was a food chemist, and what he was looking for in his studies were for blood-building factors. And he was involved with trying to get laying hens' production of eggs up, as well as reducing the death rates of chickens. Now, he discovered that the structure of an animal's blood was very similar to chlorophyll, and that's the plant's blood. And the inner molecule of the chlorophyll is magnesium, and in the blood it's iron. And he was conducting a lot of blood-building experiments and trying to find out what he could use through a variety of vegetables. He was mainly concentrating on the green vegetables as well as grasses. And alfalfa was one of the grasses that was used for the chicken feed. And then when he increased the alfalfa in the mix above about 10%, it became harmful to the animals. So he knew he couldn't, improve with that. Then he started conducting an experiment with wheatgrass and oatgrass, and that's where he really found that was the ideal mix for these chickens. And the hens that were in laying production in the wintertime, their laying production went from about 40% on average to around 95%, which is a huge increase. And the eggshells ended up being much stronger as well. And when he also noticed that the chickens that were fed this mix, well, they were having less and less degenerative diseases that you would normally find when you go into a chicken production area. So that's where all of this started. And as well, it was used in the Great Depression and as a nutrient. After he did this finding, and it was used officially as a food, and it was advertised as having high nutrients in proteins, minerals, and vitamins. And there was something also that was found which they couldn't really describe other than to say it was a grass juice factor because it affected growth. And when they would give people or animals vitamins A, for instance, B6, vitamin D, B1, B2, on and so forth, and then they gave them the grass juice, the wheatgrass juice, hands down, the grass juice factor won. So this was a very, very important thing. And Dr. Charles Schnabel also, when he saw these results with the chickens, he decided to personally use this with his family in their diet, and they ended up having no serious illnesses and actually no teeth problems as well, no decay and all of that. And that was written about in an article back in 1942, stating those findings. Also, he found out, or not Charles Schnabel, but other research showed, and I believe that research happened in the 1940s, that it increased and enhanced lactation, milk production, in dairy cows, and also reproduction ability in the dairy cows as well as rabbits and rats. And so there was a lot of different studies going on, and people could see that this was a very important substance to have in diets. And during the World Wars, these grasses were used by different ladies that were trying to help the soldiers that were wounded by just taking them and wringing the juice out of them into the open wounds, and any other injuries, bruises, breakages. And they were finding that these people were healing far faster than other soldiers that didn't have this type of attention given to them, and also the use of the wheatgrass juice. So it's really an interesting study to look at how this came about, and of course you have references to the grasses in different other in religions, and it's a very high vibratory type of food, I found, because we did Carillions on our particular brand as opposed to another leading brand, and the life force energy that is given out of the wheatgrass juice powder, the sweet wheat, is extraordinary as opposed to the other, and the healing energy that shows up in the Carillions as well is very interesting, and is just it's just astounding, the difference. And I was very excited to get these Carillions done and actually see in this that life energy that when I started taking wheatgrass juice and feeling the results from it and using it topically and internally, you could feel the vibratory life force energy in that, and it was right there in front of me on those Carillions. So that was an exciting aspect that we looked into too.
Kim, just for those who may not be familiar with Carillion, it's a type of photographic process, isn't it, that is able to detect energy?
Yes, it was invented in Russia, and it is a type of photography to visually capture the life force energy and healing energy in anything that you're photographing. I'm sure that, people are aware of the cameras that can take the aura pictures and, showing the energy emanating out of, someone's body or, out of a plant. But this actually takes the picture. It's a similar thing, and it takes the picture out of anything that you put in front of the camera like that.
And I suppose one of the reasons why sweet wheat has so much energy, as well as being packed with nutrients and so on, is the organic nature of the growing of it, the farming, and also the various processes that you're able to use to capture the life force and the nutrients and so on. But Kim, you were taking us up to wheatgrass being used on chickens, on cows, on rats and rabbits, and then in the Second World War. What was your connection? How did you come to be interested and start to work with it and use it?
Well, basically my background was I started out as a model and an actress, and was in Hollywood, and I was abusing my health, and I knew nothing about nutrition. I had grown up in Colorado, and I was raised, on a typical SAD diet that we call here in America a SAD diet, a standard American diet, meaning lots of sugar and lots of meat, and very few vegetables, a few, but not many, and a lot of dairy products. So by